One of the things that makes Lucid such a powerful platform is its capability to work with data. So not only does that consist of our pretty cool card integrations, things like I could go import Jira issues or import and sort and look through Azure DevOps issues and bring them onto the canvas here. You do have to be signed in. I unfortunately am not here. But you could actually bring in, Azure DevOps cards, for example, and Jira cards. But Lucid actually takes it beyond that. We have some really interesting capabilities with things like formulas that allow you to do some fun stuff here. So for example, let's say I had some Jira cards that we were working on this sprint, and maybe we were wanting to get sort of at the end of the sprint, how many total story points did we complete? How many total tasks? You might have noticed that when I moved cards, these numbers changed, and they have these kind of little gray brackets around them. That's because these are actually using interpolated text and Lucid formulas. So right now, what I actually just have on the screen is these are just container shapes from Lucid. I made them pretty. I played around with them and messed with the font. But the really cool thing that I did was add the formula. So at any point here in Lucid, I can come in and I can add double curly brackets and an equal sign, and that's going to pop open the formula editor for me. And I could run all kinds of things. Maybe I want to look at, children of the page. So grab me every single shape on the page, and maybe specifically I want their, story points, and maybe I want to just sum that up or something, and I could actually choose to display that, do some kind of math on it, something along those lines. So using this little formula editor, I can basically use Lucid's formula system, which is similar to if Excel or Google Sheets and JavaScript had a baby. You get Lucid formulas, and you can play around with them in a lot of different ways. The one that I'll show right now is actually going to be what happens if I want to take just the things in this container. Well, for Jira cards, the story points reference is going to be called story points estimate. So what I'll say is I'm actually going to say contained. And first off, the reason that I'm using contained is I only want to care about cards that are inside this Lucid container. And specifically, I want to get their story point estimate. And you'll notice that putting it in double quotes and this sort of dot notation, that's basically going to give me, it would give me a list of all the cards here. So if I pull this in here, you'll notice suddenly that's actually a list that says 3 and 1, because that's the amount of story points on each of those Jira cards. And then again, I could just wrap them in something. So in this case, I'm going to wrap it in a sum, and what I'm going to end up with is 4. Now I already had that there. You can see I'm actually even just counting how many cards are in here to see how many were dragged in, and then same thing to get the story point estimate. And I can add a new Jira card that has story points. If I up those, you'll notice that my task totals are changing there. And also Jira is going to adjust the story points because I have updated them here in Lucidspark. Same thing works here for Azure DevOps cards, although the field is called something slightly different. It's just called story points, and that's how you would reference it there. And if I, again, start to drag additional points in here, or if I make a change to the amount of effort that's required in Azure DevOps, that's basically going to tell us how much effort was assigned to all these cards, and what's the total that's listed here. So hopefully this gives you a way to see, how cool Lucid can be when you're leveraging some of those advanced data features, in this case here in Lucidspark.